Hi everybody, welcome and thank you for joining me. I apologize for the background noise. It is raining again on my corrugated iron roof. Now I see Olive Oil and her handbag attended the David Foster Foundation's 40th year celebration. I swear Meghan Markle is listening to my videos because I spoke about Diana's jewelry only 2 or 3 days ago, and here she goes and wears a pair of, allegedly, wears a pair of Diana's earrings. And of course, she has to make it known that she was wearing Diana's earrings. I mean, like, we would not have noticed otherwise, would we? No, we wouldn't, because I tried to enlarge some of the photographs, and even on the one that I managed to, I still did not recognize it as one of Diana's earrings, but never mind. I honestly do not even care to look any closer because it makes me sick to my stomach to even think of her wearing anything which belonged to Diana. I would rather see a homeless person gifted a piece of Diana's jewelry before I want to see Meghan Markle wearing any. And I'm not joking. Anyway, I was told and thought Catherine McPhee could not stand Meghan Markle. But I guess money talks, a sizable donation, and they have no choice but to invite them, I guess. Anyway, I want to talk to you about something completely different. I had a conversation with a person whom I regularly consult on things I read, see, and hear about the royal family. And I don't even know how it happened, but we sort of turned the conversation to the Yorks. And then the York girls and their spouses. And yes, Fergie is allegedly and had allegedly been in Portugal for about 2 weeks already. Well, she is the grandma of Eugenie's baby, so how could she not be there? But anyway, that is not what I want to talk to you about either. So the Queen started sort of paying Beatrice and Eugenie's rent. Not that it was really necessary. Remember, I told you that the money basically just comes back to them anyway. But she did it to sort of make the books balance, okay? She started paying for Beatrice and Eugenie's accommodation when the two of them were still students, and it was quite understandable. She was their grandmother. William and Harry were not paying rent for their royal residences. Anne was taking care of Zara and Peter, and they did not have to pay rent. And Edward's children were still very young. So I'm sure that the Queen's motive was purely to try and treat everyone equally, as none of them were truly working royals yet. However, we should remember that it has already been nearly 4 years since the Queen passed away. Charles does not have the same obligation towards Beatrice and Eugenie as the Queen may have felt she had, and he had absolutely no qualms to give permission for Harry's lease not to be renewed, and he fought Andrew tooth and nail to get him out of Royal Lodge, which, as a side note, is now standing empty, just like Frogmore Cottage is standing empty, and other properties affiliated to the royals, like Park House on the Sandringham estate, etc., are standing empty. Something which I find extremely odd, but never mind. So Charles kicks everyone out, left, right, and centre, but continues to pay rent for Beatrice and Eugenie to the tune of £300,000 per year. Now, at first I thought that perhaps Charles and Andrew had some kind of agreement. You know, something like, okay, Charles, I'll go, but you do not touch my girls, kind of thing. So I left it. But a couple of months ago, and I so wish I could remember which magazine or newspaper it was in, there was a photograph, fairly long distance, but whoever took it said it was of Jack Brooksbank arriving at Windsor Castle with his 2 children. Now, yes, indeed, I found it odd. I mean, why would Jack Brooksbank go to Windsor Castle without Eugenie? But I mean, so what, you know? Anyway, so we talked about that, and it came out that Jack Brooksbank had been to see Charles more than once, and that it is actually William who is more cautious and somewhat distancing himself from his cousins, but that Charles appears to be quite tight with them from time to time. So please note, we are speculating here, but let's call it what it is, okay? Speculation based on certain information which we know to be true, okay? It is my opinion that Eugenie and Beatrice, and at least Jack, I'm not sure about Edo, but that they are actually doing Charles favors from time to time, and that £300,000 are their sort of payment in inverted commas. Now, before judging me or judging the situation, just hear me out. I think Jack is acting like a property broker for Charles, or a property scout, or whatever you want to call it. You know, property comes up for sale, Charles may be interested, but he can't really go about, you know, just looking at properties, etc. So Jack goes to scout it out, look at the condition and what needs to be done to upgrade it, how much it will cost more or less, and then he presents the deal to Charles. Now, if Charles accepts it, Jack sends the paperwork to Charles's lawyers, and they purchase it under one of the many LLCs belonging to Charles. Now, do you think that's impossible? No, I think not. Remember, he currently owns about 10 properties in Romania, and I believe he owns a few in the United States, and God alone knows where else. And Beatrice, we know she regularly travels to the Arab world for business, and I'm practically sure she does the odd deal for Charles. Now, why do I think that? Well, it appears that there are times when she travels under British government protection to some of these private meetings, just like Harry did when he travelled to Ukraine. Now, under normal circumstances, I would have found that rather strange. But anyway, I'll leave the speculation right there. No, my dear friends, Charles is a miser, a Scrooge. He wears suits and coats for years. He has it repaired before he even buys new ones. There's no way he would pay the rent for the daughters of a brother he despises if he wasn't getting something valuable in return. And Harry and Meghan's home in Portugal, allegedly, They bought the land from Jack and built the home and used a Soho House interior designer. Yeah, right. With money they got where? Did Pa purchase the property from Jack? Is it Harry's inheritance because William will be getting Sandringham and Balmoral? You know what? I think so. I also think it was bought on the half in, half out premise, a way to keep Harry close, but not to make it too obvious. Okay, guys, we will get back into it all at a later stage. We'll look into some timelines and so on and so on. It is long weekend here with Monday being a public holiday. So I'm trying to catch up on sorting my cupboard, cleaning my room, but I will be back, not to worry. So until then, please take good care of yourselves, stay vigilant, and stay safe. Bye.